And good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Fireside Chat. We are so happy if you're joining us for the first time, and maybe you're also rejoining us. Again, Fireside Chats, we always like to cover some new topics, and this one we will be covering a lot of information and some important new information concerning an application update with SAT and ACT requirements. Our transition specialist, Ashley Cooper, is joining me today. And by the way, I am Sam Huffman. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Sam Huffman, the social media marketing manager here at the STEPP program. Ashley, is there anything you'd like to say before we get into it?
I'm just so excited to welcome everybody with us again for another Fireside Chat. And hopefully we're sharing some new information and hopefully everyone will get involved and ask us some great questions.
Yes, I do want to remind everyone just before we get started that if you do have questions at any point during this live stream, you can drop them right in the comments section and we will answer them live. So again, if you're like, wait, I don't want to interrupt, Ashley or Sam while they're speaking, that's okay. Go ahead and put your question in the comment. We'll answer it live. It can be about STEP. It can be about ECU. It can be about the content we're talking about. Either way, please ask your questions. We are here to help and answer them. All right, Ashley, I will go ahead and switch over to the PowerPoint slide and let you take it away.
All right. So one important update is that we have 30 days until the ECU STEPP application closes. So this is for our STEPP 2025 cohort. So this is for our current juniors that are graduating in 2025. Remember that when you're applying to the STEPP program, we have a separate application process. So you're applying directly to STEPP. And each year, STEPP accepts 10 students for the fall semester. So this is for our 2024, I got to get this right, Sam, the 2025 application, current juniors that are graduating in 2025. You have 30 days left to apply to the STEPP program. So the deadline is May 15th. So our STEPP deadline is May 15th. So put that on your radars if you are currently thinking about applying to STEPP, or if you're currently in the process of applying to STEPP, that the deadline is May 15th. And we need all of your application materials by that date. All right, so here is our important application update. So starting in the spring of 2025, East Carolina University will require that standardized test scores for admission. So to meet ECU's admission standards, all applicants must meet the requirements set forth by undergraduate admissions, including submitting their ACT or SAT scores for the 2025 STEPP cohort application. Therefore, students who wish to apply to the program must include these ACT scores or SAT scores with all of their STEPP application materials.
Ashley, we have a question that just came in. I wanted to let you finish that little piece there. You'll see it on the screen right there, just to make sure you accept 10 students.
Yes, so each cohort year, we accept 10 students for the fall. And for this cohort, it'll be the fall of 2025. So current juniors apply to the STEPP program. Current juniors, meaning they're graduating by 2025. They meet eligibility criteria. So to apply for the STEPP program, you must have a documented specific learning disability that could include dyslexia, dysgraphia, or dyscalculia. And you also meet the minimum course requirements of the university, which includes this ACT and SAT update from our application. So yes, to make sure, we do accept 10 students per fall semester. That was a great question.
Yeah, great question. Again, I want to remind anyone that's just now joining, because our numbers just kind of ticked up a little bit right now. Please feel free to drop your questions in the comments, just like this user commented their question. We will answer it live. Ashley, I'll let you continue, though, with this important application update.
No worries. Thank you, Sam. So for students that are applying to STEPP this year for the 2025 cohort, make sure you include your ACT and SAT scores and documentations of your accommodations for attesting. In addition to this, to answer any questions that you may have, we have some virtual Q&A sessions coming up. So our virtual Q&A sessions are there to answer any questions from prospective students, families, educators, counselors about any requirements, including the SAT and ACT requirements. So we do have several upcoming dates in April. If you scan the QR code on your screen, you're able to access how to register for these events. You can also visit STEP at ecu.edu as well to register for these upcoming events. And they're in webinar format, so you're able to ask your questions and be anonymous, or you can come off mute and ask your questions for the whole group as well. So we wanted to create an atmosphere where everyone was comfortable asking their questions about the SAT and ACT requirements. All right, so in order to prepare to apply to STEP, we have 1 month until our applications close. So you have to be graduating by the spring of 2025. You have to have a current psychoeducational evaluation. On our website, we do have documentation there that you can click the link to access disability support services.
Ashley, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you again. We have another question that just came in concerning the ACT and SAT. The question is, what is the range of scores that the STEP program accepts?
That is a great question. So the STEP program takes a more holistic approach in terms of accepting students. So we get to know the students as a learner and seeing if their accommodations and their supports align to what STEP has, but also the students interview us as well to see if the program aligns to meet their needs. So we don't have an exact GPA or an exact ACT or SAT score. So we don't have an exact score that I can give you in terms of what we accept. It's very case to case dependent, and we just have a holistic approach when we are accepting students into the program. But the main criteria in order to come into the program, you have to meet the eligibility requirements of having a specific learning disability and also meeting the minimum course requirements of the university. Those are the first two things that we look for in for a student to consider if a student is eligible for the STEP program.
That's great. And just a quick reminder before I hand it back over to you, Ashley, again, if you're just now joining, we do have some new users that are just now joining in. You can ask your questions at any time just by placing it in the comments, and we're here to answer them right here, right now, and live. If you're maybe rewatching this after this Fireside Chat has live streamed, you can still ask your questions by placing them in the comments, and we can follow up with a direct message with you as well. Ashley, I'll hand it back to you.
All right, no problem. And please feel free to interrupt me. I can stop at any point. And I'll just repeat myself. And it's going to be completely fine because we still have new people jumping on. So what I was saying, to prepare to apply, these are students that are graduating by the spring of 2025, meaning current juniors. You have to have a current psychoeducational evaluation. We like for the psychoeducational evaluation to be within the last 3 years, if possible. And then we also follow criteria set by ECU Disability Support Services, and that link is attached to our website as well. We also include this update in order to challenge yourself, making sure that students are meeting minimum course requirements of the university. So those required high school classes that ECU requires. And you can go to ECU admissions to see that updated list of required courses. We have that linked to our website as well. And then we also get you to start thinking about your recommendations. Typically, students ask for recommendations during their senior year of high school, but in order to apply for the STEP program, you are asking for recommendations during junior year. So we want to put that on your radar or on your educator's radar a little earlier so that they can be prepared to answer questions on our recommendation form for you. And then the last thing in order to prepare is to review and analyze our essay prompts. So as part of the STEP program, students have to submit their drafts of their essays and their final version of their essays. So that's a little different from probably other places where you apply that you have to submit just your final. For STEP, we want to see every single draft that you have in your final essay as well. So that's a little bit different. And the structure of your essay is really up to you. We kind of want to see your writing process and how it looks, and how you, if you do receive any assistance with your essay, making sure you're documenting that as well throughout the process. So that's how we look at the essays in a whole process, kind of in the totality. And just so anyone knows, you can ask me any questions about STEP in terms of our application process. Today, we're going to cover some frequently asked questions. We just want to keep reminding you guys that our application closes for May 15th, and this is for current juniors. We know that's a little bit different, and the reason students apply early to the STEP program is because during their senior year of high school, me as a transition specialist, I provide transition support for students coming in. So that's the reason for the early application process. And that transition support is there for ECU students. So I'm reminding them of ECU deadlines. I'm also providing them with and front loading them with information about housing, campus living, dining options, disability support services. So we provide a well-rounded transition support to get students able to come in and feel really confident about being here on campus. And also they get to learn a lot of different things in terms of our learning management system here at ECU to get them kind of acclimated to the university early. So it's a great step. In order to do that, we have to ask that you apply a little bit early. So our applications are open for current juniors. I know everybody's like, you already said that. I just want to say it again. Applications are now open for current juniors, and our application closes on May 15th. This is our 30-day update in terms of we have 30 days until our application closes. All right, so here's one of the questions I've been getting about the ACT and SAT that I wanted to cover tonight. Do I have to submit the ACT and SAT scores with my STEP application? So according to our STEP update tonight, yes, you would have to submit your ACT and SAT scores with your STEP application. We are following undergraduate admissions requirements. So students will be required to submit their ACT and SAT scores with their STEP application. So anyone wishing to apply to STEP, that's one of the requirements that you have to adhere to. Another question that we have been getting a little bit more recently is, how do I upload my scores to the STEP program? So many of you probably, if you've taken the SAT or ACT, know that you can submit your scores to ECU. Well, if you do that, STEP doesn't have direct access to undergraduate admissions. So in order to upload or submit scores to STEP, you will have to upload it directly to your application, or your educator can upload it on your behalf in an unofficial format. So the scores that are sent to you as a PDF can be uploaded to your application so that STEP can review those scores. We like for that score report to have your full name, your test date, your scores from that testing session. So including your total or composite score in each section and each subsection. So your scores can be electronically submitted as a PDF. So make sure that you are uploading those scores directly to STEP. So we don't have access to the undergraduate admissions. So if you are saying to send the scores to ECU, that will go to undergraduate admissions instead of the STEP program, and we need you to directly upload your scores. And then another question that we have is, I'm taking the ACT in May or SAT in May. What if my scores are not back by the deadline? So on your application, you will have the option to select and update STEP of when you actually are taking the SAT or ACT. If you won't have your scores by the deadline, you must indicate when you're taking the test. If you advance to the next phase of the admissions process, you will need those test scores before July. So if you're thinking about applying to STEP, that would mean that you may have to schedule your test either April or May in order to get your scores back before July in order to go to the next part of the admissions process. So it's very crucial that you have your scores available by our deadline. The reason why we need the scores by July, if you move on to the next part of our admissions phase, you will be invited to an interview, and we would need those scores in by your interview date. So we would accept your application as complete, and you would be asked to forward those scores to STEP as soon as you receive them if you are taking the test before the deadline, and you won't receive those scores by the deadline. So the deadline again is May 15th. I believe this year May 15th is on Wednesday, so you have until 11:59 to get all of your information submitted. And then if you have any questions that you were like, oh my gosh, she didn't ask this question, or this wasn't her frequently asked question, but this in my situation, this is what's going to happen. Please feel free to direct message me or send me a email or give me a call, and you can ask any questions about the STEP application in its whole. So if you're feeling a little unsure about when you would get your scores back, just give us a quick call so we can give you an update of what your timeline and how your timeline and process would relate to our deadline for the STEP program.
And Ashley, before we proceed to the next slide, I just want to welcome anyone who's just now joining us. We had a few more people join, and welcome to our Fireside Chat. If you have any questions regarding the STEP program or regarding East Carolina University, please drop them in the comments. We are here to answer them. We will answer them right on the spot. When we receive it, we will answer it. No question is too big or too small. We mean that. If you're maybe rewatching this after this is aired live, even though we're live right now, but some people do like to rewatch this after it's aired, you can still drop your questions in the comments, and we'll be able to follow up with you through a direct message again as well. So again, if you're just now joining us, please feel free to drop your questions in the comments. We had a question that just came in. Could you share some more information about the STEP program, Ashley?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So STEP actually is an acronym. It stands for Supporting Transition and Education Through Planning and Partnership. And I saw your other part to your question, services. I can talk about that, the program as a whole, and the services we provide as well. So for the STEP program, students apply during their junior year of high school, accepted by senior year. I provide students with a transition support. So during their high school senior year, they get a transition support to get them into ECU. We do virtual boot camp, which gets them acclimated to requesting accommodations through disability support services. We talk about resources on campus in terms of campus wellness. We talk about our advising. We talk about mentoring and tutoring before students arrive on campus. And then we also have a physical boot camp before students arrive. So that happens a week before students come on campus. Physical boot camp is there to build our cohort. So students are coming in a cohort of 10 students. So we do a lot of team building activities, a lot of fun activities. But on the first day of boot camp, we invite parents and students. We hold presentations from all of our campus resources. This includes our student academic success services here at the university. It includes our disability support services, our Power Academic Success Center, which is a part of Student Academic Success Services. We include a lot of information to get students and parents acclimated to being here at the university. And we also give them the opportunity to ask any questions, because this will be, the parents will be leaving their students, and it could be a difficult process. And so we like for parents to feel relieved and comfortable with leaving their student here at the university. So it gets them the ability to get acclimated to the university a little bit earlier. So students move in a little bit earlier with the STEP program, and they live in the same dorm, but don't room with another student in the STEP program. And then during boot camp, we have Dr. Dietz, which is our instructional specialist here at the university. for a STEP. She provides students with note-taking strategies and skills on a day of boot camp, and then they have an opportunity to meet with the professor and do an actual lecture with the professor, and then they get to practice those note-taking strategies and skills that they learn from Dr. Dietz, and then they also get to debrief with Dr. Dietz on what went well, how can I improve, here's some issues that I ran into, what are some strategies to help with that. And then we also follow that up with students getting acclimated to campus. So we do a lot of team building. Students are meeting with their mentors, walking around campus, doing a scavenger hunt. So it's a lot of fun opportunities as well included in boot camp. Then once the students are here, they have Dr. Dietz as their instructional specialist. So she is their teacher for their EDUC class, is an education course that's part of our STEP curriculum. Part of our STEP curriculum is that students have to do 15 hours of study hall each week. They have to meet with their mentor at least one time a week for an hour. And then they have the availability to meet with tutors here in this part of the program. So we do hire an English tutor, a math tutor, and then a science tutor. We also, for that cohort coming in, they're required to take 12 credit hours. So they are, we do have some prescribed classes that we prescribe to those students. So they're coming in as a cohort model. They're taking very similar classes together. And then we hold workshops for some of those classes. So we hold English workshops and psychology workshops for those students once they're on campus as well. For that first year, they do that 15 hours of study hall. The second year, first semester, they do 10 hours of study hall. Our services start to fade, but those requirements fade, but the program itself is still available to all students their total time here at the university. So they do have access to our director, Mr. Denny, who supervises our mentors. Our instructional specialist is also a co-advisor to all of our students. So if you're coming into STEP, you have two advisors. You have our instructional specialist, and then you also have Dr. Dietz, you have our instructional specialist as a co-advisor, and then you also, the students have their department or major advisor as well. And so I think I kind of gave a big overview of STEP. There's a lot of, I guess, requirements and expectations of students coming into the STEP program. And if you have any specific questions that I may have not covered, go ahead and you can ask them now and I'll be willing to answer. But that's the kind of overview of all of our services and the program in its entirety. So I think one last thing I will say is that our EDUC classes, there are 3 classes that students take. So they're paired with that first year and then that second year, first semester class. And then the last class of EDUC can happen at any point. It's based on a student's timeline and transition. So students coming into the program, we think about 3 transitions. We think about the transition from high school to college, the transition into their curriculum or major, and then the transition into their career. So those 3 transition points happen through those 3 EDUC classes and also during our transition support as well.
That was a phenomenal question, and I think it's just important to reiterate that STEP offers comprehensive academic support through our mentoring, tutoring, and co-advising services in short. And not only that, but the university also offers many other student success services at the university. And if you do have any further questions, we have another new viewer that just hopped on now. I can see, again, feel free to drop them in the comments. We're here for another comment. Another question that just came in. Let me show that. Ashley, if you're okay, I'm actually going to switch this slide just to the comment, just to the questions ones. I feel like we're kind of getting a lot of good questions right now, if that's okay with you.
Completely fine, Sam.
This question is, again, if a student is not accepted, is there any help provided by the university, in this case, ECU?
Absolutely. So if you are in contact with the STEP program or if you go through our admissions process, we are here as a support process to help you think about other resources here at the university. So the STEP program is actually a part of Student Academic Success Services here at the university. So we would share additional resources to help support any student coming into the university. So we are there as a support system to Our main mission is for our students here at East Carolina University, but we also have a mission to support students that have a learning disability thinking about coming to college. So if we can provide you with any other academic resources here at the university, if you truly want to come into ECU, we can be there to help guide you and provide you with information about additional ECU resources. So we definitely can share any additional ECU resources that we have here at the university.
Mute myself.
There we go. I couldn't hear
There.
you. Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you now.
I'm sorry to everyone. I was just talking and I thought I had myself unmuted. I'm sorry. To anyone again, if you're just now joining us, please feel free to ask your questions. We are here again to help you. We've had some phenomenal questions again tonight. We still have a few more minutes on tonight's Fireside Chat, but I do want to reiterate something that is very important at STEP Program is making sure your questions are answered. So if you do ask a question right now, we will make sure it is answered and not just, in this live stream. So again, go ahead and ask your questions if you do have any. Actually, I'll go back to that application workshop. I believe that was slide 10. I'll let you proceed from there, and I'll interrupt you if we have any more questions. But let's try to finish this presentation piece, and then we'll make sure we have any other questions. We'll make sure we finish this in its entirety.
Absolutely. So we do have application workshops. So if you are currently applying to the STEP program, or if you're thinking about applying to the STEP program and you still have additional questions, or you run into any troubles with our application, we do hold planned workshops. So I do have some workshops on my calendar. We have an upcoming one in May at 4 p.m. You can register for that, and I can help talk you through any of your application questions. If you're like, oh my gosh, May 1st, I can't make it on May 1st, but I still have application questions, feel free to reach out to me so we can make a plan and schedule some time to actually meet virtually. Or if you want to just give me a phone call, that's worked for some people as well. They're like, hey, can I give you a quick phone call at 9:30? And that works for you. And that absolutely does sometimes. So if you can give me an email and we can schedule some time to just get on the phone and talk through some things, I'm definitely there as a support to answer any questions about our application process or anything in terms of uploading documents to our application. So if you're having any trouble, or if you're having trouble getting back into your application, like return codes, those type of things, we can work through those as well. We do. We have updated our website and we have some great tutorials there. I got some great feedback from the tutorials as being very helpful with the application process. So that's also a resource if you're unable to get me immediately. So we try to be a resource and accommodate everyone. On the next slide, we do have some application materials that can help you with your application process. So we have an application checklist and then also an application guide. Our checklist is there to direct you to all of the required application documents that you would need. So I will say we offer comprehensive academic services and we have a comprehensive process to our application. So there's a lot of documents that you would have to submit. So referring to the checklist will be a great guide. And then we also have a very comprehensive, we have 19 pages of information on our application guide. It's very thorough, but it's organized in a way that is very accessible. So we highlight points. So if you're having trouble with loading your ACT or SAT scores, or if you want additional information about those, we have links there that can drive you to specific sections of the guide so you don't have to read it in its entirety. So we have a lot of resources there to help support you with the application as well. And then if you have any questions, feel free to contact us here at STEP. So if you can either email me at my email, or you can email me at the STEP email. I get both. So if you have any questions about the application or want to know more about STEP or scheduling a virtual tour of STEP or any additional information, feel free to reach out to us. We are here. And as Sam said, no question is big or small, too big or too small for us. So we really love questions. We really love answering your questions. And when you ask your questions, it helps us to refine our program and make our materials more accessible to you as well. So we do take all of this feedback in to make sure that we are finding new ways to answer questions and put that information on our website to streamline it. Because if you're asking that question, someone else out there has that same exact question and maybe they did not ask it. So we want to make sure we're a resource to any student that's thinking about coming here to the university. And we also want you to explore STEP and know information about it.
That's exactly right, Ashley. I know we are a touch over time, but I feel like that's okay. I'm actually going to give just a few more minutes because we had some more people that just now joined. Again, if you do have any questions about the STEP program or East Carolina University, please drop them in the comments. We have had some phenomenal questions tonight, and I really appreciate those. Because like Ashley said, when you ask a question, it helps us continue to improve the way we communicate to you, and also figure out ways to better simplify or better explain pieces of the application. So again, no question is too big or too small. I want to give about just a few more minutes for anyone to ask any questions if you're just now joining. I also want to reiterate, as Ashley has many times, you see on the scrolling ticker at the bottom, that the 2025 cohort application, it closes in 30 days. It closes May 15th at 11:59 p.m. All application materials, as Ashley has noted, must be submitted by, again, May 15th at 11:59 p.m. Ashley, let's just reiterate again real quick about this application update, and then we'll wrap things up probably in about 3 or 4 minutes. But again, if anyone has any questions, drop them in the comments. We'll answer them right here, right now.
All right, so no problem. So for our STEP 2025 cohort, we have an application update. Starting in the spring of 2025, East Carolina will require standardized test scores for admissions. To meet ECU's admission requirements, all applicants must meet the requirements set forth by the undergraduate admissions, including submitting your ACT or SAT scores for the 2025 application. So anyone wishing to apply for the program must include their ACT or SAT scores with their STEP materials. And I see we have a question.
We do. It was talking about, I'm also replying to them as well. I believe they're talking about the application workshop. I'm letting them know that it is on our website, step.ecu.edu. They were saying they were trying to check the STEP website. To this user that is asking this, or just to make sure, you are talking about our application workshop, which is May 1st. Yes, they just said application workshop. I can answer this, actually, you follow it if I don't answer it all fully correctly. To this user, again, you just visit our website, step.ecu.edu, and then there's an application workshop little area that you can register for. In fact, I'll see if I can pull up real quick just to make sure this person, because this is such a critical piece to make sure your questions are answered.
While you are pulling that up, I can kind of talk us through. I think I know it. Might know the exact page it's on. So if you visit our step.ecu.edu website and click apply, on the apply page, there should be some info boxes. It should be 3 info boxes there. Oh, Sam got it up. So if you click apply, this will take you to this page. Here we have our application guide, and then our application workshops. If you click schedule now, it takes you to our bookings app where you're able to schedule time for that actual application workshop that's upcoming. And like I said earlier, if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time on May 1st for the application workshop, I still need application support, feel free to reach out to me so we can schedule some time to meet to talk about any questions that you may have or help you through the application process. But here, since we're on this page, Sam, I think this is a great resource to be on this page. We have our application. We also have our, go ahead, Sam, you took me right to where I was heading next. We have our new application tool, website tool that helps you find when it's time for you to actually apply to the STEP program. So you put in the date that you're actually graduating, and it gives you a little update. So when are you graduating high school? If you're graduating in 2026, it's a little too early, but we're excited that you're here, and we have our contact information there. But if you're graduating in 2025, it is time for you to apply now. Our applications close on May 15th. So we just want you to use all of the resources here. And that was a great resource tool because we got a lot of questions. The cohort years, sometimes for me, can be even confusing. So we tried to simplify that process to everyone. And here I mentioned earlier, the prepare to apply. Here are all the links. So on the apply page are all the links that I mentioned earlier, including you're a student, you're graduating by 2025. The reason students apply early is for that transition support during their senior year. If you're looking for information about our current psychoeducational evaluations, evaluations must be within the last 3 years, comprehensive as per our criteria from ECU Disability Support Services. There's the link there with the learning disabilities criteria. Challenge yourself, the required classes from ECU admissions, and then our essay prompts as well. And then if you're currently applying to the program, you can send these links or send the apply link to them to any recommenders. So you can, they are able to submit their recommendation forms on your behalf. And then if you have some educators that are uploading documents like your ACT and SAT scores, they can click that link there and upload those documents on your behalf. And this is something I think I forgot, Sam, to mention.
Yes.
And this is great. So STEP is one of the few programs, academic support programs, that is no additional fees associated with it. So beyond your ECU tuition and fees, there's no additional fees to participate in the STEP program. So all of the things I mentioned, our high school transition curriculum, our instructional specialists, our tutoring, all those resources are free for students participating in STEP. And then here are some great links to help you support you with the process, knowing our deadline, our application checklist, making sure you have the learning disability documentation requirements, and then our essay prompts. As I mentioned before, students submit their drafts of their essays and then their final essay. So this is a great resource for any student that's thinking about applying as well. And then if you have any questions or need any feedback, if you can provide us with any feedback, we'll welcome any feedback about that. Improving the website, we've been trying to streamline and update our website for accessibility. And almost all of these things were a result of questions that we received about STEP. And so we kind of streamline our website updates to follow those questions that we receive and also give everyone a better support to our application process. So our applications are now open and we're looking for you guys to apply. Remember that you must meet eligibility criteria by having a documented learning disability diagnosis. So this could be dyslexia, dysgraphia, or dyscalculia. And if you need help determining those documentation requirements, referring to our application guide as a support will help you, and also the information about disability support services. And then also meeting the requirements of ECU, the required high school classes, referring to that admissions link. Those are our two kind of biggest checkpoints for the STEP program. So if you're thinking about applying, making sure you meet that eligibility criteria is important.
That's great. Thank you, Ashley. Again, to that user, if you are still watching, please, you can email Ashley, and I'll actually put her email up on the screen right now if you do have any trouble trying to find, again, that application workshop piece. But again, All you have to do is if you go straight to our website, you'll see here, this is just our website, step.ecu.edu, and click on apply to STEP. And then from here, you'll just scroll down just a little bit and you'll see this application workshops option on the right-hand side. And you'll just hit schedule now. And then you'll go to the month of May for May 1st. And you'll be able to schedule for the application workshop. But again, if you do have any trouble with that, please reach out to Ashley. Her email is there on the screen. We have more people that have joined in, and though it has been a wonderful, wonderful evening, we will have to start wrapping things up now because we actually are a little over time, but that's okay because we had some excellent questions tonight, and that makes Ashley and I so happy to have excellent questions like that. We always believe that no question is too big or too small. Even though we are live right now, people do decide to watch this later on after it has aired in its entirety. You can still ask your questions by still dropping them in the questions. We're able to follow up with you in a direct message to answer that question. You can also, if it's more confidential or private, or if you just feel more comfortable, same question to email. You can email her right there. That's Cooper ASH22 at ECU.edu. Again, Cooper ASH22 at ECU.edu. Again, no question is too big or too small. I want to remind again, everyone, as we start to wrap things up tonight, that applications close in 30 days. All application materials must be submitted by Wednesday, May 15th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So again, we're 30 days away until the 2025 cohort application closes. So make sure you get all those required elements, all those required materials submitted. We'll be constantly updating you on social media too to remind you of those application deadlines and providing helpful tips. If you have questions about the SAT, ACT newly updated requirements, we will be holding some Q&A sessions as well. Those details can be found also on our website at step.ecu.edu. I want to sincerely thank everyone for joining us tonight and asking such excellent questions. We truly appreciate them. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here to help you. Ashley, is there any other remarks that you want to say about the application or any other closing things before we close things up tonight?
I would just say if you have any additional questions, now that you're either rewatching this or have watched this, feel free to reach out to me and I will be able to answer any additional questions or schedule time to meet to have an info session if you want to learn more about the program.
That's great. Ashley is always so helpful. Again, we thank everyone for joining us tonight and asking such wonderful questions. We will have another Fireside Chat this coming Monday. That is Monday, April 22nd. That Fireside Chat will be on Instagram. It will cover the same topics as we did tonight, but I'm sure there'll be some new questions, which means you can learn something new. So you can join us on Instagram on Monday, April 22nd, and we'll also have another Fireside Chat on all of our streams where you're watching currently, either Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Twitter. And that will be in May. I can't remember the date off the top of my head because we've had a lot go on tonight, which is not a problem. I love that. I love questions. So, all right. Well, we will wrap things up right now. But I am Sam Huffman, Social Media Marketing Manager here at the STEP Program. Ashley Cooper, our wonderful transition specialist. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Ask such wonderful questions. Again, applications close in 30 days. Apply today at step.ecu.edu. Thanks, everyone, and go Pirates.